now. Okay, here we go.
You should open up the script too.
The script.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that has access to that. And then
Don't worry about every single one. If you even get one of them up, that's okay for now. Let's just do this.
Oh, we are close friends. Perfect. Okay. Did you see it on Instagram?
You send me a link?
No, just go on Instagram right now, just real quick, because I need to see if it's even up. Like, and if the sound works and
YouTube?
everything.
YouTube or Instagram?
No, I said Instagram. Mom, why you gotta confuse him and say YouTube right after I say Instagram? Hello, hello, hello. Like, Nosferatu. You don't see nothing on Instagram? It should be.
Nothing came up last time either.
It should. No, it did for me.
Really? It didn't come up. It's not in the
Let
archive.
me try Facebook.
Yeah, can you try Facebook or YouTube or anything like that?
Facebook is up.
Facebook is up.
Can you just?
Yeah, and we can hear it. Let me try Facebook.
Okay. Now can you join in? Oh yeah, let me send you a link.
Yeah, send me.
Okay, now what do I do?
We're testing the streamline. Bear with us.
Copied and
Oh, it's a delay too.
that's good. That's what you need to have happen. Wait, one thing, because it's gonna start.
Okay.
It's gonna start.
You want to call me or you want to send me a link?
I'm gonna send you a link right now. Sorry.
Where? To my phone, my
Messenger. Sorry.
To his text messages.
No, Messenger. Facebook Messenger.
You got me on Messenger?
Facebook Messenger. He's sending it.
That's the it's from Poor Magazine. Oh, you mother! It won't let me now for some reason. Okay, hold up. I got a copy. That's the thing. It's on my computer. Wait a minute. Here you go. Okay. I sent it as a text. Let's see if it works. Did my text just crash? Okay, they worked. Okay. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Join in.
Can you send me that too, so I can send it to Karina?
Yes, I will do that.
I need to send it by text message. I need my phone.
I'm
now.
sending it by text message. Here you go. That's you. Okay, we've confirmed that it's up. Okay, that's fine.
That's the link. Okay.
Is it a bad link? I'm confused. What about it is weird? Dude, you're on live. That was a nice one though. Oh, damn, it stinks. Oh God. Oh my freaking Christ Almighty on the cracker. Oh God.
For some reason, I can't hear you guys.
Oh, sorry, I turned off the
Can you
mic.
guys hear me?
Go ahead.
Oh.
No, we can't hear you because I haven't put you in yet. It looks like you are in for some reason.
Is it on or no?
It should be, but I don't know. At this point, I'm so confused. Wait, what the? Here you go. This is invigorating.
But it's gotta be back in there.
Wait, hold up. There you are.
Everybody's got the link.
Okay, now I can
Everybody
hear you
should
guys.
Come back.
Oh, wait.
Can you hear
What the-
me?
Hello?
Can you hear
Tiny,
him?
can you hear me, Tiny?
Yeah. All right, there we go. We can hear him. What the?
Can you hear me, Tiny?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Please
man.
come back in.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Woo!
Smoke, can you hear us?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you guys now.
Wait, turn it off.
But on the
turn it
thing,
off?
not
Just leave
coming
the
out of
studio.
the container, right?
Say leave. Okay, good.
Yeah, it works.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Wow, we just
Oh,
put
there's
it on.
Gordon.
Okay, we got.
Hey everyone.
Hey, relatives, we're gonna wait a couple
Can you
more
speak enough
seconds
here?
for everybody to come in, okay?
It looks like it, yeah.
We managed to do it. As ghetto poverty scholars, we managed to figure this ish out on the digital streets. How about that? So you're making herstory and history today,
Wait,
Gordon.
but when they speaking, is it coming up over here too, Tivo?
Yeah, see how it's like. Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Remember, we're gonna save it as an MP4
Wait,
and MP4.
Gordon, could you say something real quick? Sorry, just so we can hear you.
Something real quick.
Gordon, tell Gordon to say.
Were you able to hear that?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear
Can
us?
you not hear me?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Shit. One sec.
Oh, maybe we can't hear you. Interesting.
Turn up the
Is it still a problem?
He's not muted.
Mom, all of our earphones are up.
Is he's not muted in your program?
Don't do the earphones, dude. That's so difficult. No, he's not muted.
Yeah, I got
Ian Cordova,
headphones in presently.
welcome. For some reason we can't hear any of y'all.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, because Munte, we could hear you for sure.
I can hear you, Gordon.
Now I'm wondering, I'm like, what's going on? Oh, maybe here. Let me just check. Oh, so we can't hear anything from here for some reason now.
Yeah, I can't hear
Put the mic
y'all
on.
really.
There's our StreamYard.
Wait, no,
specific mic.
it doesn't. Can you just give me 2 seconds, Mom? I'm sorry. I just need to focus on this real quick. It's you. There you go. That was the one that I turned down. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. We should be able to hear y'all now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can hear you.
Can you hear me as well?
Yes, we can hear both of y'all. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm sorry. We're trying to figure this out right now.
No worries.
It's been very confusing.
Do people come in themselves or do they have to?
Oh, what? Remember, watch out for the camera.
Can you send that to Karina's
Do you want me to
email?
put the camera like up here? Maybe does that help? Oh, but then look, you can't see it that well. I don't have Karina's email.
I got it. Hold on.
You see what I'm saying? How like it? I don't know where to put it. Where we put the camera?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Give us 1 second. We're gonna send this message to
Pero mira,
Karina.
yeah, gets blocked. That box is right there. See.
There's a delay, which I don't
Yeah.
know if what we should
Hey,
do.
Gordon.
Tibu, is that gonna
What the-
mess you up in your recording?
No, the delay. No, yeah, delay doesn't mess anything up. Look, maybe if we could do that.
Yeah, it works.
And that right there.
Okay, hold on.
That way you can see them, and then we can also you can be able to talk into the mic. I'll make yours a little louder, and hers a little quieter. Perfect. There you go. Look at that. We made it work.
So you're gonna do the welcome, right? What?
Are
Absolutely.
you recording?
As soon as we get in, as soon as Karina gets in, we're gonna start.
And we're not streaming on
We're gonna
radio yet.
upload it
We're gonna
live,
upload
yeah. So that way it can be.
Okay.
All right, she should be getting on. I sent it to her email.
Tell me when. Oh, or no, we'll wait for Karina and then we'll start it.
You have the outline, Lou?
Yeah, it's PNN what? PNN radio.
April 1st. It's called April 1st. Radio PNN April 1st.
Gotcha.
For any of y'all listeners who are tuning in on any of the digital streets, we love you, we appreciate you, and the digital divide is real. Us ghetto scholars are struggling up in here. We're in this little tiny, poor people station built by us for everybody, which in and of itself is an act of resistance and revolution, because no orange cracker tells us what to do. This is unpimped, unplayed, unbought, unsold. And it's also really hard to do. So I want to shout out and lift up to Mijo Tiburcio over here on the 1s and 2s. And
Yes.
my brother Montiago Silencio, to Ibaye, to Sister Lori, one of the co-founders of the radio, my mama D, for without whom there'd be no me. To so many other relatives who believed in poor and houseless people having their own media channel and this is why we're even here. So I'm just so honored and excited to have Ian and Gordon be part of that. And we're still waiting on
Oh, there she is.
Sister, and I think she's coming now. Oh my God, here we are. Karita, say something so we can check your levels.
Hello, hello. How are you? Good to
Sounds
see
good.
you all today.
Hey, Karita, you're part of Herstory. Asqueto Scholars
right.
did it. We made it onto the all the digital streets at the same time. How about that?
Congratulations.
Okay, so we're gonna get started with some intros just to the show and what's gonna happen, and some music. Go ahead with the intro music, Tibu, and then we'll get to the outline.
All right.
So stand by, relatives online and in the streaming sphere.
Okay. Of course. There's a 15-second full ad.
Tibu, did they hear that when it goes on? Will they hear that?
Yeah, because there's a microphone here. They will. There we go.
No, but is there a mic that goes in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Let's see. Oh wait, I am not recording. Goodness gracious. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to PNA KXU Poor People's Revolutionary Radio at 96.1 on the dial in East Oakland, Ho-Chin territory, and streaming live online at www.poormagazine.org/radio. This is your co-host Muteado Silencio con voces de migrantes en resistencia. We formerly housed this poverty scholars Tiburcio Garcia and mi carnala Tiny La Poverty Scholar.
Yeah, this is PNN, not CNN, people. That's Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. Live and direct from the small part of unpimped, unbought, unsold, untold Mama Earth that the settlers call Oakland and that we know as Ohlone Nation Land. You're supposed to play that. You know that? You're supposed to play that link. Okay.
It's right now. These ads are killing me.
You just heard two of the 200 families who lost their jobs and homes overnight from the California horse racing industry in SoCal, Palacinton. We will hear more of this struggle later in the broadcast. This is an active struggle right now, and we are working to support them whatever way we can. From SoCal, Palacinton to SoCal, Berkeley, on today's War on the Poor report, we speak with Indigenous leaders, land protector Corina Gold, and the situation happening in SoCal Berkeley, where humbly houseless residents are sleeping and being constantly harassed. House neighbors on the small park occupied land, the Celosta Aloni Park. Then we hear the most recent offering of Dr. Sweet speaking and teaching of Gaddafi and the addiction doula with her healing segment, all of that and much more.
So yeah, relatives, we are here. Again, today is a day of her story, and I just want to say, be patient with us because we're trying to figure out these digital streets, one chord at a time, and it's not easy. But again, the reason that these stories are so important and we need to get them out as far and wide as possible is because our bodies are silenced as houseless people. We are swept like we're trash every day in this occupied land, and we don't matter. I walk in persona as a poverty scholar because I say this revolution isn't about I, it's not about me. My pronoun is we. I'm trying to uninvisibilize every single day these violent acts of war on the poor. Today, we are blessed to have some badass warriors in the struggle for liberation of Mama Earth, because as we always say, Mama Earth is not for sale. So, to have a conversation about what's happening in so called Berkeley, aka Uchun, where just like all of occupied Turtle Island, they'll take the names of First Nations peoples and slap them on a street or slap them on a park with absolutely no account for land back, with no account for the first peoples upon whose name they did use, and really almost in another act of erasure of the genocide and removal. So here's an example in Hippocrazy, Berkeley. There's a park called, quote, Aloni Park, which all the Hippocrazy Berkeley residents are very proud of being near and walking their dogs and having their picnics and their play dates. And in that park, there are other residents because guess what? A lot of us can't afford the lie of rent. And so, yeah, we end up in a tent. There are also multiverse reasons that we're on the street. And so there's some residents who humbly sleep in a tent in this fetishized and occupied and wrongly named park, Aloni Park, or rightly named, and they're being harassed. In this case, not by the politricksters and the city gangsters at this moment, but by the hater neighbors, which relatives happens a lot. The war on the poor does not just happen from the state. It comes from the community. So today want to spend some time talking about that. And to do that, again, we have the blessing of bringing in Brother Gordon, who is was one of the residents and is now a resident leader from Aloni Park. Welcome, Gordon, to Poor People's Radio.
Hello.
Thank you.
I feel like there might be a little confusion. I don't believe I've ever been a resident leader at Aloni Park.
Oh, well, we could, whatever, that's me lifting you up. So however you want to call yourself is all good. And then also from the warrior, the front line of Where Do We Go, formerly known as Where Do We Go Berkeley, we have Ian. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you, Tiny. Thanks for having me.
For sure. And to properly conversate about a park named after the first peoples, we have the blessing of having one of our sister warriors and leaders, a land protector, and also a member of our Elders Council at Homefulness and co-founder of Sigorte Land Trust, Karina Gold. Welcome back to Poor People's Radio, Karina.
Good to be here. Thank you, relatives.
Yeah. So maybe we could start with you, Gordon, and let listeners and viewers know maybe a little bit about what is happening in this park with some of your comrades who are there.
Well, from what I can gather from my visits to the park, things have been relatively quiet there recently. And you know, whenever I go to visit, most of the time people are kind of taking it easy. But I do have a couple of points of contact. Um, and from what I can tell, they're they have had city workers come by and talk to them about services and what have you. So they are wary that there's potential closure on the horizon. Um, and that's something to be cognizant of going forward.
Okay. And I want to say, I want to bring in Ian to talk a little bit about the framing and the structural issue going on, because thanks to, shout out to Auntie Kim de Ocampo from Miwok Elder as well. She's been sending us letters that come from a group called the FOOP, which is Friends of Ohlone Park. And the anger and the rage is escalating in these letters every time they send them, about, you know, the blight and the how these folks are have to be moved and they're not safe. And in fact, for listeners and viewers, there's a community meeting tomorrow night, which is one of the reasons we had this conversation urgently today, where they want to force the city to remove that community. Ian, can you talk a little bit about that? What's going on?
Yeah, sure. Yes, the FOOP is an acronym for Friends of Ohlone Park. They're a community group, a coalition, I think, of neighbors, of people who live around the park and who, from what I assume, are meeting and hoping to meet in the best interest of the park from the way that they see it. But Tiny is completely right. We are seeing a lot of messaging coming from them sending out letters and are planning meetings that have the general feeling that they are against the encampment that's there in the park. There's been a protest encampment there since, I want to say, October of last year. When Where Do We Go was starting protest encampments around downtown Berkeley. That was one of the sites that we had kind of taken over for people to live and to be safe. And so that camp has been there for a long time. In Berkeley, it's really common for us to encounter upset Berkeley citizens who aren't happy about seeing homelessness, who aren't happy about kind of having to be around poverty or anything like that. It seems like they have a lot of kind of misconceptions of who we are, and also kind of misguided way of dealing with what they see as issues, by essentially turning on us and kind of blaming impoverished people for their own poverty, and fueling a kind of an overall rhetoric that we're seeing in this country, obviously from the politicians, the politricksters, as Tiny calls them, but you know, all the way down to our regular everyday citizens. And so, yeah, pretty much the Friends of Ohlone Park have been putting out these communications saying they're concerned about the encampment. They're trying to blame the encampment for crimes that happen in the area. And just to be clear, there's no crimes being perpetuated by the people at our encampment. Crimes that are happening there have always been happening in Berkeley. This is downtown Berkeley area. But they're kind of scapegoating this group and looking for a way to get them out. This, like I said, this has been a problem for us at all of our encampments in Berkeley, kind of, and I think it's well known that Berkeley can kind of host a lot of NIMBYism, the not in my backyardism. This is kind of an overall theme of Berkeley, and it has been for a very long time. I mean, since the 60s, Berkeley has been a pretty conservative place. I think that we have the optics of Berkeley are often that it's a, you know, flower child, hippie, leftist, liberal bastion. But when it comes down to it, our government and our residents and everyone are very conservative, and you will often see them kind of co-opting movements are, movements such as those by the First Peoples, and doing things like naming a park Ohlone Park, and then completely kind of forsaking, that almost like just to follow, kind of almost doing it out of because it's trendy, or to don this disguise of liberalism, and then at the same time it's not followed through. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Ian. And it's actually kind of terrifying, the tone behind these letters. It's just escalating this. I feel like they're going to come with the blow torches and the clubs. I mean, let's bring in you, Karina, to give us some perspective on how you feel about this, or just thoughts, some ways to look at this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tiny. Thanks everybody for their hard work around these issues. I think that one of the things that we can say is that the Lashawn people were the first ones kicked out of Berkeley for living in a similar manner that our relatives that are houseless, right? People had different homes a long time ago. My ancestors lived in tule huts, but we lived in villages, which now are being called encampments. But I think when we're talking about village life, we're talking about people that care for one another, that are that have similar goals and ideals, and how to work together. And I really believe that that's what folks that are living in these encampments are doing. It's interesting that that what is now called Ohlone Park was actually a piece of land that the BART is actually leasing from the city of Berkeley for $1 a year. So the BART actually runs under there, right? And so I think that it's important to know that this land that was taken over by BART to create its structure actually has a history of radicalism and that we don't talk about. So we are talking about this NIMBY, but it was actually people from Berkeley that were that kind of took over this land by planting there, right? Kind of as a way of saying "F you, City of Berkeley" after Bloody Thursday at People's Park. And so this was actually People's Park Annex, right? And so so it comes from this revolutionary idea in Berkeley at that time in 1969, right? It didn't get its name. They didn't take on somebody dubbed it Ohlone Park 10 years later, right? And probably thought that we were all dead anyway, and it was a good idea that, this is true. In 1979, I was still a kid. We weren't doing the activism in our community that we're doing now. People were unaware. And so I think that, it was something that happened back then without people understanding now, let's go forward all of these years. And now we're talking about land back, and we're talking about what does it look like? And we're talking about NIMBYism, but also how does NIMBYism look in this particular time in the world and in this country when we're looking at fascism. And when we look at how people, it's like I always say that Nazi Germany took its playbook from the United States and how it treated its indigenous people. But now we're taking that America is taking that playbook back and is using it on marginalized people that are houseless, people that are LGBTQ, people that are migrants, and they're using that same kind of thing. And what worked for Nazism and for the United States taking over land was that it had its buy-in by its regular citizens. And regular citizens telling on each other, or regular citizens being the police force to continue to do this kind of thing. So it makes sense that this group, FOOP, who is treating this park as their own an extension of their own private property, right? That's what it's being treated as. And to begin to call authorities on folks that are trying to survive in on these places. I always say that capitalism was brought to these lands. It was not created here. Private land ownership was created here. And so poverty was also created here. And in our language, as you've heard me say before, there was no such thing as hunger or homelessness in our language,
Oh,
right? And there still isn't. And so that was something that was brought here through settler colonialism. And so this is what we're looking at today. We're looking at the extension of the settler colonialism that capitalism has created this way so that people cannot live with a decency, a human right of having a roof over their head, someplace to lay their head at night, someplace that they can stay warm. And so it is because of that settler colonialism, of land grabs, of all of these things that the United States is built on, that we find ourselves looking at these people that seem like normal citizens, having this idea of that they can just throw other people away, right? And so I'll stop there and let you guys.
No, that's beautiful, Karina. I just, right at this moment, I want to lift up Luis Tamaj, burned alive for sleeping outside in occupied Yalamo, Frisco. Not because of a sweep, but because, again, somebody in the Gentra Eft building didn't like seeing a houseless relative asleep in a sleeping bag. I want to lift up my mama, because when we were thrown against the wall and arrested in, again, so-called Berkeley by the UC police, that was because of a call of somebody saying, oh, there's homeless people sitting in a car outside my establishment. These acts, in fact, as Karina has named, are really definitely a form of fascism. And we know that you don't need politricksters for that, right? And we have plenty of that in these communities that purport to be conscious, which I think is the really kind of tragic part about Berkeley, so-called Berkeley. I wanted to go back to what Ian had said, because that neoliberal gaze of so-called Berkeley is dangerous. It's actually dangerous. I don't know, Gordon, I know that one of the things that I have been told, and I've seen myself about the relatives who are in that park, is they're very careful to keep their stuff neat and, be chill. And yet, yeah, like Ian said, there's these things being said that they're the ones causing the crime, and there's been an increase in theft. I'm just curious if you had any thoughts about that.
Well, I feel that's rhetoric that house people use to give rationalization to their fears and scapegoat these communities. And that crime happens, and they're like, oh, well, it must be because of this community that's set up here, and so then the entire encampment gets blamed for what an outsider does, similar to what happened in Civic Center MLK Park with the high school student who got attacked by an outsider, and then the encampment got blamed, and now they're no longer there.
Yeah, exactly. That's so real. Ian, did you want to just talk a little bit about the kind of ongoing struggle in so-called Berkeley that you all have just even been having?
Yeah, definitely to expand upon what Gordon was just mentioning with the Civic Center Park encampment, which was another one of the, sort of so-called protest communities that had been established over last fall and winter, only 2 blocks away from the Ohlone Park encampment. There was a community meeting regarding the Civic Center encampment about 2 weeks ago. A high school student, a Berkeley high school student, was assaulted by a man at Civic Center Park, and pretty much instantly the Parent Teacher Association and the community at large was up in arms against the encampment and were saying that this man was a member of the camp and that the camp was full of rapists and criminals. And it became this really dangerous rhetoric that kind of just popped up and just spiraled out of control. People were on Nextdoor and people were online, just saying all these completely untrue things about the people who live there, saying that it's just this band of criminals, and that essentially putting out the narrative that their children are not safe near a homeless encampment. And we hear that a lot, especially all the encampments across Berkeley. Usually kids are kind of the first ones that they say, oh, somebody think about the children. It's like, what are you saying? That all homeless people are child molesters, that all homeless people are dangerous? And they were being really kind of forward with that rhetoric. And luckily, we were able to get a lot of members of the community to come out and speak at their community gathering that they had right across the street from the Ohlone Park at the senior center, same place where the Friends of Ohlone Park are going to be having their meeting tomorrow, and really push back on that narrative that the encampment needs to be, that any crimes happening can be attributed to the camps, that homeless people are all criminals, that homeless people are dangerous. Because as Karina was saying, I mean, it is, we're seeing rhetoric sliding dangerously into kind of the fascism zone, and it's at its most insidious and most dangerous when we're seeing everyday citizens doing it. Politicians and corporations and people will see picking up kind of fascist mantras all the time, but when we see the community, and I was getting some criticism from people around me because I was using the word fascism to kind of describe what was going on, saying that, hey, these are our neighbors, these are our Berkeley neighbors, these are not fascists. When we think fascists, we think, the Proud Boys, the white supremacist groups who come in and with their tiki torches and stuff. But this is even more dangerous in that this was a group of everyday citizens engaging in fascist behavior. And it was really important that we named that immediately, because it's something that anyone can do. You can say, well, I'm not a fascist, I'm against fascism, but then at the same time partake in it somehow, or forward its agenda in a way that you might not even realize. So I mean, it was really important that we kind of named it as it was, which was our community slipping into fascism inadvertently. They were being driven by their fears, and politicians, they were kind of loving it, because if you can get the community against the encampments, you can sweep them out. And that kind of points to, I think the encampments are also, as Karina was saying, they're a bigger front to capitalism than anything. They're kind of our last communities here in America, as we've broken up. We don't even have Lions clubs and things like that anymore. Like, we don't even have those kind of snarky white communities. Like, even those people don't band together as much anymore. So unhoused encampments are really dangerous for capitalism because it's bringing people back together. So the system loves it when they can get the community all riled up. But,
and I want to insert right here about even this notion of these tropes about houseless people. That I often say, they call me crazy, lazy, dumb, and a bum because my knowledge don't come from the institution. I mean, we already just found out a couple weeks ago on camera, witnessing of illegal dumping. They always say, oh, we got all that crap. Well, like our relatives, and shout out to Wood Street Commons, sister movement, and building our own solutions to homelessness. Most of the stuff that was thrown at Wood Street Commons came from the yuppies and the gentrifiers effers who live nearby, who didn't want to bother taking it to the landfill. That happens all the time. But then we're targeted as the ones who are causing, the blight, causing the mess. I do want to, we're running out of time, and I just want to make sure that there's action steps for folks, but I do want to lift up that homeless people have our own solutions. That's what Homefulness is. That's why we even are here in this Poor People's Radio having this conversation. Wood Street Commons is trying to build their own solutions. They're not getting support from the politricksters. We didn't get support from the politricksters. It's people. So, we also know that there's conscious housed people. So shout out to all those conscious housed
Yes.
residents.
Yes.
How do we become unresidented or unresidential just because we don't have money for the lie of rent? This is the challenge that we need to put back on people who say these things about us without us. Actually, why isn't the community, and I don't even use the word encampment, that's a military industrial complex word. Why isn't the community in that park considered a community? I've seen them. They're a beautiful community. They take care of their stuff. They're always neat. They're careful. They're humble relatives. Why aren't they? And a lot of them are disabled, gravely disabled, which most of our houseless people are, by the way. They're your mamas, your aunties, your grandmamas, your tias, your tios. That's who they are. Shout out to the folks on the first part of this radio show today out in so-called Pleasanton being evicted and put on the street. But then they won't be human anymore, you see, once we're outside. So let's get some last words. I want to do a shout out. Please come out tomorrow night to the North Berkeley Senior Center at 7
Yes.
p.m. and speak up for those relatives and tell the FOOP, which I have different names for that, but I'll leave that off the FCC
Yeah.
tile. But tell the FOOP who their neighbors are. Any last words you'd like to say, Karina?
Yeah, I think I just want to tell, the relatives that we need to support each other. We are dependent on each other to get through this part of history, and that this is the time to be a human being again, for us to show up for each other, to not to put the blame on people that are living outside, but to put the blame on who created this mess to begin with, and to listen to folks like Horror Magazine and Homefulness about creating solutions, because that's truly what's going to get us to the other side.
Oh my damn.
Yes.
Gordon, last words you'd like to say, huh?
Yeah, I just want to say the pandemic has had everybody so comfortable hauled up inside that people don't realize the extent to which your right to exist in public is being stripped away on the street. And that's something we need to pay attention to, because, I mean, that's how neoliberal revanchism and fascism based on it works. Is, all the necessities of, in and out daily living are essentially criminalized, and thus people are criminalized to exist in space without explicitly criminalizing that class of people. Doing so, in a trickster fashion, as per your term. And we need to be wary of just how much we're allowing our governments to corral space in order to exclude classes of people.
Beautifully said. Ian, any last words, hon?
Yeah, I mean, I would say thank you to Gordon and Karina, and to you, Tiny, for getting us together to talk about this. And just, I guess, a message for all our unhoused community members and for everyone is to don't forget your power. Don't forget you have as much power as any of these people who are trying to stop us, as much as any government or any bullshit institution.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Where do we go.org? Support them. Support woodstreetcommons.org. And let's show up and show out and speak up and speak out tomorrow night, Wednesday, April 2nd at North Berkeley Senior Center. Thank you so much. Support Land Back to Segurite Land Trust so that they can create their own parks, called whatever they need to call them, and wherever that land needs to be, because remember, relatives, this is all occupied Turtle Island, and all of the bay is Ohlone land. How about that? The whole bay be called Ohlone instead of bay. Thank you, relatives, so much. Stay tuned after this short music break. We'll be right back. Thank you, family. And for those on the digital streets, we'll be signing off. Come back again next Tuesday night at 6 p.m.
Streaming live and direct now.
That's right. That's right. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.